Yes, I'm Joy.
And I'm Laura.
And this is The Witches of Ladders, a supernatural rewatch podcast.
Buckle up as we dive into Season 4, Episode 4, Metamorphosis.
I feel like this episode gave me whiplash. Right? And I want to explain what I mean. Okay, so I have watched this episode quite a few times. And when I was watching it the first times that I was watching it, and I wasn't being analytical, I always viewed Jack as a victim, and I felt really sorry for him, especially because at the end of the episode, he's trying really hard to save his wife, and everything is just against him, and it feels like there are all these things, these circumstances that he can't control. It's not his fault that he was born, right? So all these terrible things are happening, and it just feels like he's trying to protect his child, he's trying to protect his wife, and he's just being beset by circumstances. So I always thought it was like quite a good, emotional, hard-hitting episode. And previously I really enjoyed it. When I'm watching it for the podcast and I'm being more analytical, he gives me a lot of nice guy syndrome, where
Yeah, I don't like him.
he comes across really ugly, especially in the first half, and then for, like, I know I say this a lot, but honestly, for no reason, he's a lot nicer towards the end of the episode. I do think the writing is good, but I just don't understand the character arc. Like, I think that it's a product of its time, and it would have read a lot less bad when it first aired than it does to a modern audience of women who are much more aware of things like that and are much more analytical at this time. Like, if I read this as a feminist, he reads as the best takedown of nice guy syndrome and men who feel that they're entitled to women's time, labor, bodies, you know, for no reason other than that they're quote unquote nice guys, right? And I think that that's a fantastic like lens to look at him through. And then I feel upset because towards the end he behaves in ways that are less villainous. And I just, like, he's still a bad guy, don't get me wrong. He's not a great guy. But I find it really confusing, and I find it hard to form a solid opinion on him as a character, I find it hard to keep the initial reading that I have for the first half of the episode and the second half of the episode when this guy who we thought was a good guy is trying to burn this woman alive because she's pregnant, you know? Like, I can't deal with it. And I understand the overall conversation about Sam. Like, they even fucking outline it for us as an audience, where Dean's like, maybe you're sympathizing with this guy too much. You know, he's a nice enough guy, but he has this darkness in him he can't control. Yada, yada, yada. So, like, I get it. I just find it hard. I find it, I prefer an episode where the good guys are good and the bad guys are bad. And if we're going to be morally gray, we're morally gray the entire way through. The sudden shift towards humanity, right, when he's being his most monstrous towards the end, and the violence immediately afterwards hits a lot harder emotionally. And I just don't know how I feel about it.
The whole Sam thing as well. I feel like they've done this in quite a few episodes now, so I didn't really care. I'm like, I wasn't even feeling sympathetic for Sam. I was like, yeah, just like, you're gonna have to kill him. And then I didn't feel sympathetic for Jack at all right from the beginning, but mainly because he just grossed me out when he was eating. And I felt like the episode was trying to make us sympathize with him, but I was like, nope, don't like him. And yeah, that's basically it.
That's fair. Honestly, it's a fair take.
It was really scary. I actually thought the episode was scary, and especially when he turns
into really scary.
When he turns into a full monster at the end, like, he was really scary. I liked that bit.
Yeah. Honestly, it is one of the scarier episodes. As far as monster episodes go, I feel like the special effects are so good, and obviously there are scenes where it's clearly CGI, but it looks like practical effects.
Yeah,
like when he's in the bathroom and his spine starts shifting and stuff, that looked very real. But it was clearly CGI because they're not going to do that to him. But yeah, no, the effects are so scary. The makeup, his monster makeup is so scary. This actor's ability to eat like a demon is really
Ugh.
scary. Like,
Ugh.
it, I don't have another way to describe it other than to say that it felt like he was eating demonically. Like,
Yeah,
it was inhuman
he was
and
definitely an
so
animal,
disgusting.
animalistic. Yeah.
Yeah. And my hat is off to him. He's an incredible actor because I had such a visceral reaction to everything he was doing.
I definitely did when he was eating.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Mm.
This is not a dinner episode of Supernatural. Like, not a lot of episodes are dinner safe episodes. This one for sure. Do not try to eat and watch this
No.
episode.
I don't learn. Like, I wasn't actually eating my dinner this episode for once, but usually I am, and I was very, very happy that I wasn't this time because I think I would have actually been sick.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not what you want.
No. Most of the time when I watch the episode the first time, I am having my dinner.
Yeah, same.
and quite a lot of times I'm like, why? Why do I keep doing this?
Why do I keep making these choices?
I'm like Sam and Dean, I never learn.
Today, they just dropped some special behind the scenes content for Supernatural. Basically, there's an interview because it is coming up to the 20th anniversary of when the pilot dropped.
Wow.
So we're coming up on 20 years from when the pilot dropped, which is, I think, September 13th. So they just now, like Jensen, Jared, and Misha did a special interview. And my fun little preamble tidbits, my preamble ramble, it's the 20th anniversary. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, that is. And I'm only just getting around to watching it.
You are a slowpoke, what can we say?
It's really good how it's lasted this long, and like they still do cons, and you know, they're obviously going to keep going while there's a demand for it. And it doesn't seem to be like there isn't going to be a demand for it anytime soon. So
yeah,
and maybe a reunion that they keep hinting at, or like a reboot. That's what I meant.
Yeah, so they actually talk about it in this interview, and it's fascinating to me. I'm going to read a little bit of it, and I will add the links to my show notes. They're not in there right now, but I will add them. I promise you. So basically, the interviewer says, celebrating 20 years since the pilot is a big deal, and this fandom has always been so devoted. What is it that keeps you doing these conventions for the fans? And Jared said, the fandom doesn't seem to separate from the show itself. We started out on the WB, and then by the end of season 1, we were on the CW. But very early on, we were this little engine that could. And so the fandom from the get-go, he kind of paused and interrupted himself, which Jared is confusing to read you out loud, but that's cool. I think it was season 2 or season 3 when we started coming to these conventions. They feel like such a part of it. And the majority of people who I've met who watch the show, when I ask, how'd you find out about it? They're like, oh, my best friend. And then we went to a con. And he goes on to say that having been a fan of different things like sports teams, bands, different shows and movies and genres and stuff growing up, he gets it. And I thought that was really cute. And then they go on to talk about like when they first realized that they were famous and that the show was going to stick around, which was at the UK convention, like I've mentioned before. And and then this part is really sweet, and I'm going to try to not feel emotional about it because I'm super emotional today for no reason because it's too hot for life, frankly. But the interviewer is talking to Jared and says, and then you realize you could harness the power of fandom to do some good. And Jared says, the fans have raised millions of dollars for charities around the world, which is outstanding, but also to see the relationships, the support, and the care that they give each other. I don't spend a lot of time on social media, but here and there I'll get an alert or someone will say, hey, did you hear that this person's is going through this or that? And I'll go and see comments from the SPN family who've never met each other that are just sending love. The internet can be such a hellhole at times, social media specifically. So to see our fandom going, you got this, we believe in you. You've been through worse, and we will see you on the other side and hope to meet you is really awesome.
Yeah, that's
right.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
It's so sweet. It's so sweet. And then they go on to talk about like is there, because you played the characters for so long, are there times when you blur into them? Because the boys have talked about this at conventions, how there's a much blurrier line between Sam and Dean versus other characters that they've played because they lived their lives for so long. And Jared says, great question. We played these characters for so long, it's hard to parse out what parts of Jared became Sam. Then Jensen interrupted and said, where one begins and one ends. And Jared says, yeah, it's so fluid. Every now and again, when I'm putting the kids to bed, they want to hear a story and not a real story. They want me to make up a story. And I'm like, sure, a story about what? And they'll say whales. And I don't know anything about whales, but I'll find myself going, all right, so get this, which is what Sam says all the time.
Dolores.
Yeah. And Jensen says, you just made me think of whenever I have to use dad voice. It sounds a lot like Dean voice, and it's not on purpose by any means. And the interviewer says, to the voice you use to yell at demons? And he says, yes, to yell at my lovely children. And then Misha says that he did his Castiel voice, which is very, and he demonstrates low and growling. He goes, hello,
very
deep. Yeah. I had a very deep voice, which, as you may intuit, is not my natural voice. And I was a year into filming Supernatural, which I thought was only going to be a couple of episodes, because he was supposed to be a guest. And Jensen interrupts and says, we did too, Misha, which is kind of mean, but also extremely funny, because we know it's just banter. And then he says that he ended up going to a doctor because something didn't feel totally right. And it turns out he has permanent vocal damage from forcing his voice into a lower range for years to give us Cass's voice. So bless him. He's like truly been marked by the show. And then they're talking about like the possibility of a reboot or another set of seasons and what would that look like. And the guys are like, I don't think I have another 22 like seasons in me or something. But they said that a shorter run would be something that they would be very open to. And I was like, yes. Yeah. You know, my inner fan goblin came out.
Jared said before, hasn't he, about the maybe doing something similar to Gilmore Girls where it's just a few episodes. And I think that would be really good.
I think it would be amazing, like a short run. Like, because now if it was like Netflix, they could just do 10 episodes.
Yeah. Just like a couple of feature-length episodes.
Yeah. Honestly, anything. I'll take anything. So yeah, I love it. And then they talk about their crossover on The Boys, and the interviewers asking them, like, if, because they were all together again, if they kind of slipped into old characters or what happened with that. And Misha says that they did end up doing a take in character as Cass, Sam, and Dean, and that's probably the one they're going to use. And cool. Jared says, I hope so. And then Jensen says, look for that on the editing room floor. That's where that will be. And then he laughed. So I don't know, but like, I really hope that if they're not going to use that take, which probably, I don't know if they're going to get away with it or not. If they do, that would be fabulous. But if not, I really hope we see it online as like bloopers, edits, outtakes.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, those are my little extra fun facts, I guess. Would you like to give us the synopsis for this episode, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, this is Season 4, Episode 4, Metamorphosis. The original air date for this episode was October 9th, 2008. Sam and Dean work with another hunter and family friend, Travis, to investigate a man named Jack, who is slowly transforming into a flesh-eating monster called a Rougarou due to a family curse. Tensions rise between the brothers because Dean has just found out that Sam has been practicing using his powers with Ruby, and he thinks that Sam can't be objective about the case because he might identify with the seemingly normal man who has a monster inside him. When Jack ultimately loses control and kills Travis, feeding on him, Sam is forced to kill him, and at the end of the episode, Sam vows to stop using his abilities. But I don't believe him.
I never trust Sam when he's wearing white.
Oh.
Anytime Sam is wearing white.
I think he's worn this shirt before. It's got like, it's white, but it's the rolled up sleeves have got a pattern on them, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think he's worn it before.
Yeah. I feel like, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure he's wearing super light colored clothes, like a really pale baby blue verging on a white shirt when he was possessed by Meg. And I feel like anytime Sam is doing things that are super shady, he's wearing white. or
Yeah.
very light colors.
But being highlighted in red by the lighting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't trust him.
You can't, he's too pretty. You can't trust someone that pretty. He's so pretty and so good.
Yeah, and so when we open, we're like, he's doing his power thing. So he's questioning a demon about Lilith's whereabouts while Ruby watches. The demon isn't very forthcoming though, and basically says Sam isn't the big hero he's supposed to be because he's sleeping with a demon. And then Sam uses his powers to pull the demon dust out of him and sends the demon back to hell. And then I write, Ruby and Sam glance at each other and it's pretty sexy, but then we see that Dean has found him and is secretly watching them. Uh-oh.
Daddy Dean is angry. My notes for this crack me up because I wrote the chain pentagram that you see on the ceiling. There's like a pentagram, but it's made out of chains. And I wrote, that's pretty metal. And that was such a dad joke.
Literally.
Yeah, that was such a pun. Like, it was such a Jared Jensen pun. I cracked myself up.
I love a dad joke.
Yeah, same. And then I wrote, is Sam angry because this demon is right and it's dark? Or is he angry because this guy is insulting Ruby? Either way, it's hot.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to tell because he did kind of slut shame Ruby in his rant as well. And called her a whore, words to that effect. And it's like, oh, is Sam going dark side? Or is Sam angry because someone's insulting his girl? I don't know. But either way, it's very sexy when he's very angry at the beginning. I don't even know if I did another thirst trap. Because the rest of this episode low-key traumatized me. And I can't engage that part of my brain. So I don't know. This might be my only thirst trap.
I've definitely got some later, so it's alright.
Okay. And then I was like, really? Who was like, what we need is Sam being a Jedi and the demon pukes out of this guy? Like, who does that? Why are demons vomit based? What the fuck? Demon dust puke. Of all the options, why is this the choice that was made?
Yeah. Yeah. You know how normally we're used to demon dust just going into vents, but now it like goes into a puddle on the floor and then soaks through the floor into hell.
Yeah, that
and like a ring of fire.
I just feel like with all the John Constantine influences and like The Exorcist and all the other horror movies that have been referenced, I'm pretty sure that Eric Kripke said that the demon dust stuff was his idea. But like the puke thing, like it just feels corny or like I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't feel like it's scary enough to me. Like,
no, but I suppose it's got to come out of an orifice. Would you rather it was a different one, Joy?
I don't know. I just want it to be more brutal. I want it to be anything other than vomit.
Do you like it more when they just like tilt the head back and it comes out of the mouth and goes into the sky?
Right. Okay. See, here's the thing. This is my exception to this, is there have been actors that when they do it, it's like what Laura describes, but some of them have done it really violently. So their head jerks all the way back and it looks like their jaw is unhinging and it looks really brutal and really scary because the idea is obviously supposed to be that this horrible, gross, demonic entity has been wearing your skin like a human meat suit. And that is gross and scary. That's good horror, right? Mm-hmm. So when they rip their heads back and it's kind of like the mummy and there's like this hyper extension of the jaw and then all this creepy, nasty demon juice, dust, whatever goes flying out of them, that's great because that doesn't look like they're just puking it out. Like that looks like an entity, like something horrible is leaving a meat suit. That's scary. I love that. I don't like it when they're being exorcised and they just vomit down and it's like a slow demon dust vomit.
Like a slow waterfall out.
Yeah, that upsets me because like that's not scary. That looks like he's been out drinking with his buddies and he's hungover and he's like, that's not, it doesn't scare me. And that, I think that's what annoys me.
Yeah. Do you think they're just trying to show the difference because it's like Sam pulling it out? So it's like maybe a slower process. But yeah, I agree. It's not scary.
I think that's what they were aiming for. I think they were aiming to show us that Sam is getting a hold of this power and they were aiming to show us the progression of it. I think it would have been better if it had been aimed upwards, but I understand why they didn't do that, because they wanted to show us visibly the representation of it going down into hell. So it has to be down instead of up.
Oh yeah, because normally if they tilt their head back, it's when they are choosing to escape the body as well. So they're kind of, and they're escaping rather than...
It's because somebody has a gun or a knife that could actually end them. So they're like fleeing.
Yeah.
Rather than being forcibly removed.
Yeah.
I just feel like the forcible exorcisms could have had, I don't know, blood coming out the eyes or the ears, or I don't know, something that would make it scarier than how it comes out. Like, give me some exorcist stuff.
Oh, I've just wondered whether maybe it's because it needs to be slower because Sam's practicing how to save the person as well, possibly. But yeah, I don't know. We talk about demon dust a lot. Let us know in the comments what you think about the demon dust. What's your favourite iteration of the demon dust? I like the pixels myself at the start. So Sam feels the pulse of the man that he just exorcised, and he has made it this time. So he saved someone. He tells Ruby he has no more headaches either, and she says that that's good. But then later he has headaches again. So I don't think he's telling the truth again. Sam helps the man up and starts to lead him out. But this is where Sam sees Dean come in. And I was like, busted. And he's angry and asks who Ruby is because he doesn't know it's Ruby yet. And then they have a fight.
Long story short, they have a fight.
And Dean keeps calling her a bitch again.
Yeah, he keeps saying bitch and slut and whatever else he wants to. It's really annoying. She gives as good as she gets in this fight. Sam keeps intervening and trying to like stop them from hurting each other because he cares about both of them. And it's really cool to see the chemistry so early on between Jared and Jen. Like, that's adorable.
Yeah.
So Dean gets into this argument with Ruby after the fist fight and says, where the hell do you think you're going? And she says, the ER, unless you want to go another round first, because she's trying to carry the man who's just exorcised out to go get help. Dean doesn't say anything as she walks out with the man, and he then turns to Sam, who's watching him. Angry Dean is hot, so I did have one more thirst trap. I said I could have lived without the built-in misogyny, but Ruby had him in the second round, and that makes me feel better about this.
Yeah.
So basically, then we cut to where Sam and Dean are staying. Sam's sitting at a table reading a book. We hear the Impala pull up outside, and Dean enters a few moments later. He doesn't look at Sam. He just walks right into the room. Sam gets out of the chair the minute that Dean enters. Dean grabs his bag and begins to pack up his stuff. Can I just say he's acting like a really angry drama queen?
Yeah. He's a bit of a baby here.
I kind of get it, but it's way dramatic. Mm-hmm. Okay, it is very over the top.
Yeah, he could just talk to his brother, which is what he does in a minute anyway.
Sam says, Dean, what are you doing? And Dean ignores him and keeps packing. Sam says, what are you leaving? And Dean says, you don't need me. You and Ruby go fight demons. And it's like, how old are you? I mean, the thing is, I do get it. I get where this is all coming from. But I just find this scene so funny because he's so over the top about it. It's hilarious. So he grabs his bag and starts for the doors, but Sam physically blocks his way. And Sam says, hold on, Dean, come on, man. And Dean turns around and punches him in the face with his, like, a right hook. And Sam whirls around because it was so hard. Dean just watches him as he turns around. And Sam says, are you satisfied? And then Dean punches him again. And throws his bag on the floor. And Sam is actually bleeding from this. And this is the point in my notes where I wrote, Dean is such a drama queen. And Sam says, I guess not. And Dean says, do you even know how far off the reservation you've gone? How far from normal, from human? And Sam says, I'm just exorcising demons. And Dean's screaming, with your mind. And then he's calmer and quieter, and he says, what else can you do? And Sam says, I can send them back to hell. It only works with demons, and that's it. Dean grabs hold of him and pushes him backwards, walking with the force. What else can you do? And Sam screams, I told you! And then he pushes Dean back, and they sort of stop. And Dean says, and I have every reason in the world to believe that. And then he starts walking away from Sam again. And Sam says, look, I should have said something. But then his phone starts ringing and he answers it. And Sam says, hello. And he's clearly in pain. And I didn't know if we were supposed to read this like emotional pain, I've been punched in the face pain, or post-exorcism headaches pain. And he's also lying to Ruby about not having headaches anymore. There's so many ways to think about that one.
I wanted to know what your take was here, because I believe Sam really does think that he's saving people and that's why he's doing it. But then I also think maybe he's being a little bit naive about where it could lead and why Ruby is so invested in helping him.
Yeah. I think that, and I don't think this was originally intended, but I don't know, because of the way that they started writing Ruby in this season as a love interest, right? I think that Sam has always been attracted to Ruby, and I think that it reached a head when Dean died, and he got pulled into that relationship, and because it's the only relationship that he has, this is his unhealthy coping mechanism, he's now relying on Ruby the way that he used to rely on Dean. I think that she's like very much in charge in that relationship, and she's very much leading him. And I think you're right. I think he's naive. I think he's good-hearted. He's kind-hearted. And he really thinks that he can be like a Jedi and he can use these powers for good. And he can, because what he says in this episode is also really telling and slightly beautiful too. And it's a trait that Jared also has, where Jared is like, I have mental health issues. I'm going to use my ability to speak about my mental health issues to help a lot of other people and make a difference. Sam is the same way. Sam is like, I have this demon blood inside me. I'm going to use it to do good. And in that way, I'm going to overcome this thing, which for him is so important because John and Dean have treated him like a freak and a monster for something that he had no control over. He was literally an infant. The demon bled in his mouth. It's not his fault. Right? And everything that he's done his entire life has been to be good and to fight these things when they start rearing their heads at that specific time when Yolais starts making things happen with it, right? Sam is such a fighter and he's so pure of heart, right? And I think that when Dean reveals to him that Castiel told him that what he's doing is dark and evil, I think that crushed Sam.
Yeah. You can see he's like conflicted then as well, because he knows on some level what he's doing is probably wrong, but he thinks he's using his powers for good. So he's shocked that like an angel and therefore God doesn't want him doing it. So it's like, but I also this scene when they're fighting made me realize how manipulative Ruby it has been as well. I still love her, don't get me wrong. But, you know,
we love women's wrongs and no, what's the same?
We support women's rights and wrongs.
Yes, we support women's rights and women's wrongs on this podcast.
But when you think about it, it's like Sam thought Dean was dead, which he points out during this fight as well. He thought Dean was dead, and so he's like, how do I carry on? How do I do this? So he's like, well, using my powers, I can probably do more good. And she kind of preyed upon that when he's kind of down.
100%. She knew that he would be at his lowest and at his most vulnerable. And she knew how to get in his good graces and how to manipulate him. In my opinion, her game is to make him think that he can still be a hero even if it's dark origins. Like his powers can come from a dark place, but he can do good with it. So she's playing that card. But I also think she's playing that he's very attracted to her and cares about her card, to make him think that he can change her for the better. Yeah. Because she's always acted like, oh yeah, I'm a demon, but I'm not like the other demons. I'm not like other girls. I'm not like the other demon Barbies. I think she set herself up to be this like sexy, cool girl, but for him to want to rescue her and change her and make her better too. I think that's the hook that she's using.
Yeah.
And it works because Sam is Sam. He's Sammy. He's such a good guy. He wants to save everyone. And he obviously desperately wants to believe. This is the thing about a con. Is cons work not because they're practical and logical. They work because it's what you most desperately want to believe. Someone walks in and tells you, oh, you could be a millionaire tomorrow. Somebody walks in and tells Sam, oh, you could save the world with your demonic powers. You don't have to be, they don't have to be bad. Oh, you could save this super hot demon girl riding around in this Mustang and having sexy fun times. It doesn't have to be bad, Sam.
Yeah. Poor Sam.
Poor sweet Sam.
Also, but I suppose poor Dean, because he is just trying to save his brother.
Yeah.
So Sam's phone rings and he answers, and it's someone called Travis. He gives him a location and a name that Sam writes down. And this is where he looked like he's having headaches, so we know he's lying to Ruby.
Yeah.
So then we cut to the place that Travis just gave Sam on the phone, which is, I don't know how to say it, Carthage, Missouri? Carthage, Missouri. Yes. And we see a fancy house with a sign outside saying the Montgomerys. We then cut to a man's mouth as he's eating. This was disgusting. And I just wrote in my initial notes, I wrote, ew, disgusting man eating in a disgusting way. So his wife is staring at him, also disgusted, and she asks if he's stoned. He says he's starving and asks if there's dessert. As she gets up, he piles more mashed potatoes on his plate and asks her if she's going to eat her steak. And she's like, you've had 2 already. And he just says he's hungry again. And then she says, oh, you have tapeworm. And I went, ew. So then a bit later, the man is brushing his teeth in front of a mirror in the bathroom, and he starts groaning in pain, and we get bone cracking sounds too, which I don't like bone cracking sounds. And this reminded me of werewolf transformation scenes that we get in films. So we know that he must be turning into something. And also the name of the episode gave me a clue. But he doesn't completely transform into anything though, and sort of recovers a bit.
I just wrote Jack has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome while brushing his teeth. Because my joints and all kinds of things dislocate themselves and do horrible stuff, and it's really painful and horrible. And I just feel like this scene is such a good visual representation of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so I was like straight in there.
Is that what your back looks like?
Honestly, at times, probably. Like, I have herniated discs as a situation. That's just not fun. But yeah, your knees, your elbows, your joints, your spine, like, it sucks. It sucks. So, Carthage. Why is Carthage the location? I'm so sad about the fact that I'm not going to have the same quality of Easter eggs as I used to have with Eric Kripke, and I'm going to complain about that right now because I'm upset. But I do have some Easter eggs for you. So, the Hannibal that Hannibal Lecter is a reference to was a Carthaginian. He was from Carthage. And the idea that Hannibal and his army resorted to cannibalism during their march from Spain to Italy in the Second Punic War is a historical claim, mostly found in the writings of the Greek historian Polybius or Polybius or Polybius. Who knows? Not me. And this was later echoed by Roman historians like Livy. So we don't have like a surety over whether this was the ramblings of enemies writing about people that they were at war with, they were bitter about, or if his army did in fact get desperate. But in ancient Greece, as you're going to remember from my tale of King Laocoon, there was a taboo against cannibalism in Greek culture, a very heavy taboo, and the idea was that if you did something super awful like that, you would become a werewolf. So setting this in Carthage is a little bit of like a wink, a nod to the origins of werewolf myths and cannibalistic references, which is really interesting because he clearly is going kind of cannibal. Also, Carthage, Missouri is on the historic part of Route 66, and one of the first concrete paved portions of the highway system was actually the stretch of road west of Carthage to Joplin. It was laid in 1920, becoming a key part of Route 66. All along this road, which is part of Route 66 through Carthage, you're going to find like so many historic old places. There are lots of rumors of hauntings in this area because this is also quite a historic site in terms of things like the Civil War. So it does make sense as a setting, and I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that does make sense. So there is always still stuff to find.
It's just not as detailed. Like, Kripke gave me detail, man. It's awesome. Those were the days.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
So we then see Sam and Dean on the road in the Impala. Dean's been filling Sam in on his Back to the Future adventures from last episode.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about Mary being a hunter. And then during this conversation, I just wrote down a question, which was, did Dean not know that Sam knew about the demon blood?
No, he did not know.
I had forgotten that because I was like, wait, did he not know that already?
Sam mentions Azazel bleeding in his mouth. He's like, what, all of this so that Azazel could bleed in my mouth?
Yeah.
And talks about the demon blood. And Dean's like, I never told you about that, so how the fuck do you know? And Sam looks super guilty and doesn't.
How did he? Oh, because he did a little Christmas Carol thing with Azazel, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like Ghost of Christmas Past.
Yeah. So Sam knew for about a year, which he does tell Dean, and Dean is like, what the fuck? He's so angry. And Sam apologizes and is like, yeah, I should have told you. I'm so sorry. And Dean says, you've been saying that a lot lately, Sam, but whatever. You don't want to tell me? You don't have to. It's fine. And Sam's like, Dean. And Dean is furious and furious driving and just ignoring him. So Sam goes, whatever. And then he's like, oh. And honestly, babies. They're both about 5.
Yeah.
They're both about 5. It's I get where it's going from, okay? I understand where all this pent-up emotion and rage and trauma. It's like, I know why we're here. It is just a little bit funny.
Yeah.
It's like, these boys are who we're relying on to save the world. Whatever. Fine. Those are our heroes.
Like teenagers.
It's a little bit funny.
So then we cut back to Mr. Disgusting, and he's asking his wife when dinner is, because obviously he can't possibly cook for himself. And she shouts down, 45 minutes, and he says he's starving. I'm like, make your own dinner then.
Yeah.
And we see someone's watching him with binoculars. I can never say that word.
It is the bane of your existence.
Fun fact, I've never been able to say binoculars properly. Is that right?
Yeah, you did it. Good job. Gold stars.
Sometimes I say binoculars.
So adorable.
Yeah, so someone's watching him from outside. It turns out it's Sam and Dean from the car. And Dean asks if Sam is sure it's him. And Sam says it's the only Jack Montgomery in town. So Dean asks what they're looking for. And Sam says Travis said to keep an eye out for anything weird. And then Dean says, well, I've seen big weird, little weird, weird with crazy on top. But this guy, come on, this guy is boring. And I just put a laughing face.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Sam just says Travis seemed pretty sure. So then we cut back to inside, and Jack is obviously not going to wait for his home-cooked dinner that his wife's cooking for him, and starts raiding the fridge for anything and everything he could find. He starts with some cooked chicken, but then he moves on to raw minced beef, and I don't like him eating. This is disgusting. I nearly threw up. I'm glad I wasn't eating.
It's pretty grim.
Ew.
He has a skill set. Like, truly, he has a skill set. Because I've seen a lot of horror food scenes. And I have never seen an actor that does, like, scary food eating horror like this man. My hat is off.
Ew.
For this scene where he starts out with a beer, and then he proceeds, like Laura says, to meat, and then to raw meat. But when he was whining before, I wrote down, are you not an adult man with the ability to feed yourself? Do you not have hands in a fully stocked fridge? Why the fuck are you bothering her, you man baby?
Yeah. But so yeah, Sam and Dean are watching, and they see him eat this raw beef as well, and then Sam says, "Well, I'd say that qualifies as weird." And I had a prediction here. I don't know if you remember, but I voice noted you, and I said, I predict that this woman, that he's going to kill her, and I just wrote, this poor woman going about her life, married to a mediocre man, then one day he turns into a demon and kills her. Which isn't exactly what ends up happening, but
it's close.
It could have. Yeah.
It was a very near thing at several points in this episode. I wrote gross, and then I wrote, when Dean is judging your eating, something's gone very wrong.
True.
Yeah. Laura.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the next scene is that we find out that Sam was a mathlete.
That is funny.
It's so good.
So Sam and Dean go back to the motel, and a man is sitting in their room drinking a beer. And Dean says, Travis. And we can tell that they know him and like him from their expressions because they smile. So we assume he's like another Bobby type hunter that they've grown up knowing because he's part of their dad's circle or whatever when they were kids. He gets up and hugs them both, saying it's good to see them. And then I had a side note saying, this guy looks tiny compared to Jared and Jensen. He's probably normal sized.
I've seen so many memes of Jared and Jensen with a different actor who's not normally on the show. And like the visuals are crazy, especially when you get to later seasons. Some of the actors are much shorter.
Yeah.
And the framing is ridiculous. It's amazing.
I haven't seen one that's this obvious though since for the end of season 2. What was he called? Andy, when Andy and Sam were walking in that like ghost town.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
And Travis points out that Sam's really tall as well. He's like, man, you got tall, kid. How long's it been? And Sam says it's got to be 10 years. And then this is when he asks if Sam's still a mathlete.
I love that part so much.
He then says something about how John would be proud of them for sticking together, and Dean makes a sarcastic comment for Sam's benefit because they've been arguing about that, haven't they? And he says, yeah, no, we're as sick as thieves. Nothing more important than family. And Sam just glares at him. And then they sit down. Travis thanks them for their help, and he says he's a little short-handed and gestures to his arm that's all bandaged up.
Yeah, because he has a broken arm and a cast.
Yeah.
So Sam and Dean describe the situation, and then Travis tells them that he's a Rougarou. And Dean's like, what? And Dean goes, a Rougarou? And he looks at Sam, and he's like, what? And then he says, is that made up? And then he turns back to Travis before Sam has a chance to say anything and says, that sounds made up. Which, that's...
Is it made up or is it real?
One of my favorite quotes of the episode. So... what Travis says is episode lore about the Rougarou, but the Rougarou is actually real lore. So, okay. I will tell you about the Rougarou now. So, the Rougarou is a creature from Cajun and Creole folklore, often described as a werewolf-like being that roams the swamps of Louisiana. So they're in the wrong state, first of all. I looked up how far away they are. They're like a 10-hour drive. But... Jack was supposed to be adopted out, so I don't know if that's why he's where he is, if he was like a secret adoption thing and that's part of the plot. I don't know. But he's in the wrong place. So,
yeah.
Silly.
Travis doesn't ever say, like, where he saw his dad or whatever. What did he?
Yeah, so I think we're supposed to believe that he was down in the bayou and then he gets adopted out and happens to be adopted over to a different state. And that's why it was so hard for him to find him and why he's only finding him now when he's in, like, his 30s. So, the name is believed to be a variant of the French loup-garou, meaning werewolf. The Rougarou legend is a popular one in French Louisiana, used to inspire fear and encourage children to behave or to warn against breaking the rules of Lent. It basically goes down pretty deep into Cajun folklore, especially in Lafayette. The university there has a whole section on the Rougarou. It's a very common legend from French Louisiana because Louisiana in the beginning was divided between sort of like Spain and France, and then a bunch of people were fighting over it. So there's just a lot of different influences in Louisiana. But this one is particularly the French influence, like I mentioned earlier. The legend has been spread for many generations, most likely from French settlers to Louisiana back when it was New France, or via French-Canadian immigrants centuries ago. In the Creole and Cajun legends, the creature is said to prowl the swamps around Acadiana and Greater New Orleans in the sugarcane fields and woodlands of the regions. It is most often described as a creature with a human body and the head of a wolf or dog, similar to a werewolf legend.
Yeah, so the werewolf influence is there then.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also this like idea of abstinence, because usually for Lent, you're going to be giving up things. A lot of people will give up food. So you're supposed to give up lustful things, things to do with like, a lot of people will choose chocolate. So food that feels more sinful, more decadent, food that feels gluttonous. So there's certainly like a subtle sort of tie between the idea of the Rougarou being someone who violated Lenten vows and broke those vows. And so they become a terrible beast as punishment, which again kind of harkens back to the original werewolf myths, where you eat something that you're not supposed to do, you commit this hideous crime against the gods, and then you are transformed into a beast, right? So in Jack's case, he craves human flesh, and he will be transformed into a beast. He will be cursed into being the Rougarou. So they're like adjacent to each other, but obviously he doesn't werewolf out. He just looks scary and kind of demonic. So there's a little bit of a difference between the myths. But there's a Reddit thread that I've posted in my show notes from someone from the area talking about a story from their grandmother.
Yeah.
If you guys want to look at that.
Cool. I'm going to look at that later. He kind of changes because he has the bit where his back does that weird thing we mentioned earlier, and then his face kind of changes a bit, but he doesn't turn into a full wolf or anything, does he?
Yeah, so technically he should have like the head of a wolf, which never happens.
No.
So they definitely take the myth a bit sideways, but it's recognizable still in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So while Travis is explaining about the Rougarou, we get a cut scene where we're, while they're talking, showing Jack looking for food in the fridge again, his wife cutting her finger, him noticing and smelling the blood, and then just staring at her while she cleans up. And Travis is saying that he'll be hungry for everything at first, and then for long pig. And Sam scoffs and Dean is confused. And Sam explains that means human flesh. Now, this is stuck in my memory. I knew what it was from Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
That's the only other time I've heard that reference. So I was like, oh, I know what it is. And Dean says, and that is my word of the day, which was cute because then he gets to use it later.
Yeah.
Travis says he'll resist at first, but will eventually give in. And during this cutscene, the wife is telling Jack she thinks she needs stitches, but he's just like, I've got to go, and pisses off, leaving her bleeding and shocked. She's like, he's just left me. Travis says once he's tasted human flesh, there's no going back, and he'll transform and be a monster forever. So Dean asks how Travis found out about him, and Travis just says it runs in his family, and explains that he killed Jack's dad back in the 70s, who had turned into one of these things and killed 8 people. But his mum was already pregnant with Jack, but he didn't know that, and she put him up for adoption, so he hadn't realised that he even existed. And by the time he found out, he was lost in the system.
Yeah.
And then we got to Jack. He's run off to a bar.
Yeah.
So Jack is in the bar scoffing peanuts. That's where he's run off to after running away from his wife. And then he asks the bartender for more peanuts. And then there's a man hitting on a woman, like at the other end of the bar, not taking no for an answer. And Jack intervenes, and he calls the guy a fat, sweaty dick, quote. And I just wrote, you're the one that's sweaty. Have you looked in the mirror, mate? He's so sweaty. Yeah. The other guy doesn't look sweaty at all.
Yeah.
he's just being an asshole. But yeah, Jack is so sweaty. I just thought that was funny. The other guy goes to punch him, and Jack grabs his hand, crushing it. So he's like breaks his hand, and that's horrible as well. And the other guy and the woman both scream, and Jack seems surprised by his own strength and runs away. And then we actually see a bone sticking out of this man's wrist. I don't like it. I don't like breaking bones.
It was brutal. It was gross.
Mm-mm.
I wrote, Jack breaking this gross guy's hand was actually very satisfying. Don't get me wrong, Jack is also the worst, but this guy is all predatory and skeezy, and I was happy when he got mangled.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both not great.
They're both awful. This poor woman is having the worst day. Okay, she put on a pretty dress. She went out to a bar. She just wanted to have a drink. There's one dude starts hitting on her and will not leave her alone. He's like, oh, if you have a boyfriend, then where is he? Like, her saying, I'm not interested is just not good enough. She has to be owned by another man. Okay, he's so disgusting. He's so in her personal space. He's like right up in her face. Jack is like, you think on the surface, see, this is where I say nice guy syndrome, because he does these performative nice things, but then he's also the actual worst. Follows her home later to stalk her and eat her. Then Sam and Dean break down her door, so she has these two huge guys just explode into her. She is, I hope she moves. Okay, she is not having a good time.
I didn't even realize that was the same woman. So it's the same woman later. Ah.
She is having the worst day.
Yeah. Yeah, poor her.
After the arm breaking and Jack running away, we cut back to Sam and Dean, and they're having a conversation about the Rougarou lore. And Sam's saying, look, everything you said checked out, of course, but I found a couple of interesting stories about people who have this Rougarou gene or whatever. See, they start to turn, but they never take the final step. And Dean says, really? And Sam says, see, if they never eat human flesh, they don't fully transform. And Dean says, so what? Go vegan? Stay human? And that made me laugh. And Sam says, basically, or in this case, eat a lot of raw meat, just not. And Dean goes, long pig. And he's so satisfied with that word. He loves it. And Sam's like, right. So Sam's pretty happy. Dean smiles, and Travis is just sitting next to him. And then he says, are you kidding me? You ever been really hungry? And Dean really looks at him. And you see him, like, really thinking about it. And then Travis says, I mean, haven't eaten in days hungry. And Dean says, yeah. And I wrote, burn in hell, John Winchester.
Oh, I thought it was funny because I thought he's, you know, how he's always hungry.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you took that a darker way.
I took that literally, like, haven't eaten in days because of their childhood where they were constantly abandoned in random fucking motels with no food. And Dean would give up his food so that Sam would have food to eat.
Yeah. That's sad. I didn't
you, John.
Didn't notice that bit.
I brought the tone down. Laura made it funny and I made it sad. So Sam has this back and forth with Travis and is like, listen, I don't know, but we're not going to kill him unless he does something to get killed for. And
you can't do that. It's wrong.
Exactly. The Buffy reference that lives forever on this podcast. So Sam takes a couple of breaths and turns and walks out of the room. And Travis looks over at Dean because he's confused by why Sam is reacting this way. And he says, what's up with your brother? And I wrote, he's not a monster. And and Dean's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And acts like Sam is the problem.
Yeah. Sam, I mean, this is the bit that always happens though, where Sam he's like identifying with him, isn't he? He's some guy turned into a monster, and Sam thinks he can save him because he wants to believe that he can save himself from becoming a monster. And that's what Travis and Dean are like not acknowledging here.
The thing that makes me really sad about this whole scene for Sam is John kind of makes Sam out to be this monster to Dean. Not for his whole childhood, but for the origin of, like, their backstory. We know that for most of their lives, Dean was told to watch out for Sam at all costs and protect him. And then when they're older and John goes missing, John starts telling Dean that it's because Sam is the thing that he has to watch. Because it's save him or it's kill him. And Dean is one of those kids of a bad dad who still wants to believe that the original father that he had before all the trauma and the horror is in there somewhere and that he's coming from a good place. So he ends up believing John's point of view and his authority figure. Like he hero worships his dad because it's a coping mechanism for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that he's incapable of stepping back originally and seeing that the consequences of this for Sam and the messaging of this for Sam, because Sam got this his whole life from his dad, and Sam, being highly intelligent, knew, right? He knew. And I think it's one of the reasons why he wanted to leave home. And then it just becomes really blatant as they get older, and Dean starts calling him a freak constantly.
Yeah.
And so then we get to this episode, and it's like, to be the black sheep in that family and to be so othered, like, I really feel for him. And I think this is why Sam is such a relatable character for so many people, because there are a lot of people who know what it's like to be othered for whatever reason, or to be told that they're monstrous, you know? Being the different kid, being the special kid, being the one who's too smart, or who's queer, or whatever it is that sets you apart. Like, there's so much alienation that comes with that. And Sam is such a good guy. So it's like, it's such great writing because it's so relatable, and it also like rips your heart out because you love Sam so much. And you can see that there is actually darkness here, and that he is going down this shady path, but it's so hard to have that conversation with him without saying you're a monster or implying that. And that's the line that Dean is trying to walk now, to like love his brother and care about his brother, but also stop his brother from turning into something that he will have to kill.
Yeah. And also, like you pointed out, that John has always said to him, you know, he might have to stop him. And now he's got Castiel saying he needs to stop him or he will.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know, this is going to turn bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a difficult situation for all involved.
It really is. It's so complicated.
Yeah. There's one bit that we just missed out of this scene, which I just want to point out because it's important for later. And that is that, so Dean and Travis were making flamethrowers at the beginning of this. And it's, Travis says that's how you kill them. That's how we kill them. They have to set them on fire.
They do like to barbecue a monster on Supernatural.
The flamethrower bit is hot later as well. Just saying.
Literally and figuratively. Yes.
Also, the bit where Sam but has an argument with Travis, that was hot too.
No, I agree. I like it when he storms out. I was like, you storm, Sam. Storm out. Yeah, okay. So we cut into the Montgomery residence. It's daytime. Michelle, his wife, is in the kitchen in her nightgown pouring tea. Her finger is all bandaged up. When she turns around, Jack is standing like right behind her, and she jumps because it was an honest jump scare. Like, it was scary. She says, God, you scared me. And I was like, yeah, me too. He says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sneak up on you. How are you feeling? And she puts down the mug and is like really pissed. And she says, I'm feeling pissed, Jack.
Yeah.
And she walks away from him. Yeah, totally fair. But she stays in the kitchen, and then she kind of whirls around and says, I had to drive myself to the hospital last night. I was there until 2. As someone who's been to my fair number of emergency room visits, like, it's just so unpleasant. And it's such a shitty thing. And I feel so sorry for her, because, you know, that was such a shit night. Also, he doesn't know, but we know that she's also pregnant. So she had to drive herself with a cut through finger to the ER and wait for however many hours to get stitches. Like, not okay.
No.
Not okay. Jack says, I'm so sorry. And Michelle says, what happened? And he says, I don't know. I saw your blood and I got dizzy. I just had to get out. And Michelle says, well, you could have called. I left you a dozen messages. And he says, I know. My phone died. I couldn't find a payphone. It was a mess, but I am sorry. We all know he was really at a bar. Like, bro. Michelle starts to kind of calm down a little bit. And he says, and I promise it won't ever happen again. Certainly not to a wife as stunning as you. And he walks up to her smiling. And she starts kind of forgiving him, like visibly kind of calming down, and leaning in. And she says, better not, I swear, you know, one little cut. Jack kisses her finger. She says, blood's never bothered you before. And he says, well, I've changed. Then they start kissing. And she says, this doesn't get you off the hook, you know. And he smiles. And she says, no, think diamonds. Think Kobe sized. Which, if this is too old of a reference for you guys, he bought his fiance an enormous diamond. So she's like, you better give me a really big fucking diamond. And Jack just goes, mm-hmm. But they kiss again, and he lifts her up on the counter as they're making out, and then he starts kissing her neck. But it's like weirdly
like he's gonna
aggressive.
eat her.
Yeah. And she says, what's gotten into you? And he says, I don't know. And initially she's not 100% sure that she's turned off by it, but you can see her being hesitant.
Yeah.
And he really goes in. Initially she's laughing, like just thinking that this is funny and they're gonna make out. But then it gets weirder and weirder because he just gets like really rough and creepy. And she starts getting really unnerved and she says, hey, Jack, just slow down. But he doesn't. And she says, Jack. And then he keeps going for her neck. And she says, Jack, I mean it, stop. He pulls up her nightgown and it starts to get super rapey and very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And
I didn't like it.
She says, Jack. He slams her into the cupboard, but doesn't stop what he's doing. So he's just escalating and becoming more violent and more creepy. And she starts saying, ow, Jack, stop it. And she pushes him away and she's still screaming, stop it. He ends up backing away finally and looks really stunned. She shoves him and jumps down from the counter and she says, you son of a bitch. And he says, I'm sorry. And she says, what the hell is wrong with you? And he says, I don't know. And that's the end of that scene, thank goodness, because I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. So Sam and Dean are in the car. Dean asks Sam if it comes down to it, will he be able to kill Jack? And Sam is still insisting that he might not turn and therefore he won't have to kill him. Poor sweet, sweet Sam. Then they have an argument about it.
He's an angel.
Yeah. Then they have an argument about it because, obviously, Dean asks Sam if his emotions are getting in the way. And I wrote, excuse me, sir, but anger is also an emotion. And you let that make your decisions all the time.
Yeah, he literally punched Sam in the face not that long ago. Like, exactly. He fully lost his temper.
He is very emotional.
The way that dude bro men, like Dean. And I will hold him accountable for that. I don't think that's writing. I think that's Dean's personality. Will be like, oh, you're so emotional, but then be like, but anger's not an emotion.
Yeah, exactly. Anger is an emotion.
Laura is so right. That is, it's such a toxic trait.
Very emotional. Yeah.
Hyper emotional.
So then Dean says that Sam can probably relate to Jack as he's a nice dude with something bad in him. And then Sam forces Dean to stop the car and they have a huge fight.
The argument kicks off because they're having this conversation. And like Laura said, Sam's like, he could be okay. Like, he could resist. And Dean starts talking to Sam and getting a little bit, like, I don't know if confrontational is the right word, but it almost kind of is. He's, like, leaning in and he says, nice dude, but he's got something evil inside, something in his blood. Maybe you can relate. And Dean looks over at Sam, but he doesn't really respond. And Sam says, stop the car. And Dean's like, what? And Sam says, stop the car or I will. And he says it with all 6'4" of him. Okay. Not gonna lie. Like, I believe that Sam could have stopped the car and Dean would not have enjoyed that. Okay.
That's kind of a thirst trap.
Bro, it could be anything. It could be he physically hulks out and just is like, nope. I would have believed it. It would have been believable to me. So they share this look and Dean pulls over to the side of the road. And the car doesn't even totally stop before Sam basically bursts out of the car. He's furious. So Dean gets out of the car too, and Sam is shouting, you want to know why I've been lying to you, Dean? Because of crap like this. And Dean's like what? I love him, but he's such a himbo. Okay, guys? He's beautiful. But he's silly. So Sam says, the way you talk to me, the way you look at me, like I'm a freak. And he storms past Dean, and Dean says, I do not, because he's 3 years old. And Sam says, or even worse, like I'm an idiot. And he walks up to Dean and is like really like face to face, like squaring up to him. Like, I don't know the difference between right and wrong. So he kind of feels himself obviously like getting really, really, really mad. And I think that Sam kind of wanted to punch Dean back in the face, if I'm really honest, but Sam isn't that person. So he turns to like walk away and catch his breath. And then when he turns back, Dean kind of looks down and Sam says, "What?" Dean looks at him again, but he's angry and he says, "Do you know the difference, Sam? I mean, you've been kind of strolling a dark road lately." And Sam says, "You have no idea what I'm going through. None." And Dean says, "Then enlighten me." And Sam says, "I've got demon blood in me, Dean. This disease pumping through my veins, and I can't ever rip it out or scrub it clean. I'm a whole new level of freak. And I'm just trying to take this curse and make something good out of it because I have to." Dean kind of takes in what he said, and then eventually he says something that's much calmer. He finally fucking realizes like the penny, like my guy is beautiful, but he's slow. And he's finally on board and he says, "Okay, let's go talk to the guy." And Sam scoffs and he says, "I mean Jack, okay?" And after a moment, Sam sort of nods, but it's like tiny. And then they walk back towards the car.
Yeah. So I have a flag here. Well, it might not be a flag, but I have a very serious question, which I think is very important for this whole story arc that's being built up. Yeah. So is the demon blood thing a huge flag? Because, let me explain. If you ingest blood, that doesn't mean you have demon blood in you, does it? Like, it wasn't injected into him. It was just bled in his mouth. Does that mean that he now has demon blood in him forever?
I will tell you how I think about this. So I think about the demon blood the same way that I would think about a werewolf bite or a vampire feeding you vampire blood, to where you then turn into a wolf or a vampire. So the way that this is happening, I think this is like a magical realism system where we see this as an enchantment rather than practically. Because like practically, it would just be like, "Oh, you had some blood in your system, which is now totally gone by the time you're this age." Like it's ridiculous. But if you think about it from a magical standpoint, what Azazel is doing is a demonic ritual to give Sam demonic powers, to give him demonic blood, to make him like a hybrid, basically. So yeah, I'm trying to word this very carefully so I don't accidentally give spoilers about it. But basically, I think that's the best that I can explain it without saying things that are like hinting at future events.
Okay. So I need to stop being scientific about it and just be like, it's magic. Okay.
There's sulfur in the blood. Don't you have a cure for this disease, doctor?
Yeah, no, I can get on board with it being magic. I'll just be like, okay, it's magic.
Yeah, it's magic.
He hasn't just ingested it and then it, went through his system and it's gone now.
No, it's like it's a ritual with a very specific magical purpose. Okay.
I can get on board with that. Yeah. Anyway, poor sad Sam in this scene. He was sad.
Mm-hmm. He was really sad.
So then they go and see Jack, who's just standing in his garden watering his plants, but he looks like he's in a trance or something. They introduce themselves and say they need to talk to him. Sam takes the lead because he's better with people, obviously. And he says they need to talk about how he's changing. And Jack's like, "Excuse me?" And Dean says, "You're probably feeling your bones move under your skin like joy."
Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, people raise awareness. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome gets massively underdiagnosed because doctors are taught to think if they hear hooves, they're supposed to think horse, not zebra, right? So the problem is so many people go undiagnosed with EDS because of that fact. And so people with EDS are trying to raise awareness about it, to get people more familiar with it, to just bring it up at their doctor's offices, so that it can get better diagnosed. And there are free leaflets, last time I checked, from the Ehlers-Danlos Society that you can actually take to your doctor's office to help spread awareness if you want to. So, yeah. Thank you for that genius joke, Laura.
I fucking love that.
You said earlier that you were like him with his bones moving. Yeah, so Dean says you're probably feeling your bones move under your skin and your appetite's reaching hungry hippo levels. How am I doing so far? And Jack asks who they are, and Sam says that they can help. And then we cut to a little later. It's the same sort of, they're still in the garden though. They've just told Jack everything they know, and he's confused, and he's like, "Oh, what?" And Dean says, "A Rougarou." Sounds made up, I know, but believe me, it's not. Jack says he's noticed some strange things, but he just thinks he's sick. And Sam says he is sick, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Sam says that his father was also one of these things, and he passed it on to him. Dean also points out that he will want to eat humans soon. And Sam says he can try and fight it, but if he doesn't, they'll have to stop him. And he then tells them to leave or he'll call the cops. Oh, and I think Jack has green eyes, by the way.
Fuck's sake.
So Jack has gone off somewhere and he's listening to a voicemail from his wife asking where he is. And he kind of looks worried here, actually, but any tiny piece of sympathy I might have had, which wasn't much in the first place, when we see that he's outside a woman's house watching her undress through the window. And I had a question. Why does a Rougarou wanting to eat human flesh have to be sexualized?
I think that it's because the Rougarou is tied to Catholicism and sinfulness. And so I think his hunger is both sexual and physical, like meat. It's carnal in all the ways.
Yeah. Oh, that was a more serious answer than I thought I was going to get. So we see him start to climb the fire escape up to her, and Sam and Dean are watching him from the car. And Sam's like, "Damn it, Jack, no!" and grabs a flamethrower. And Dean's like, "Oh yeah, I get to sizzle some bitch. Let's go."
I love Dean. That's one of the reasons why I love Dean. My notes literally say, Jack is now stalking the woman from the bar and spying on her because he is the worst. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
Traumatizing his wife was not enough. Now, it's really important that he acts like Jack the fucking Ripper.
Yeah, but... So Sam and Dean run into the building to try and get ahead of him, but as Jack watches the woman completely undressed now, he apparently has a change of heart, but only because he sees his disgusting reflection in the window. And this bit reminded me of Gordon turning into the vampire in Fresh Blood when he's looking, he sees himself, and we can also hear a heartbeat in the background, which was the same as well.
Oh yeah, do you know what? Gold stars to you, because I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is really creepy. And like the other thing is, like, I would like to believe that he stopped because he realized that what he was doing was terrible. But honestly, I feel like he stopped because he realized what he was going to do was changing him. And he didn't want to become a monster. It's like self-preservation, I think. Because he's just like, he's such a nice guy syndrome sort of guy. I don't think he's actually nice at all.
So Sam and Dean burst into the woman's apartment with the flamethrowers and lighters at the ready. And the woman screams. And Dean's like, "Wait, we're here to save you, I guess." And then someone else from another room shouts that they're calling the police, and Sam says they should go. This is really funny because when they leave as well, they close the door behind them, and the door frame is like completely fucked up. They've like completely broken her door.
No, it's one of my favorite things that they do is just breaking down doors. And like, this was so funny. I feel very sorry for her because she, like I said before, she's having a terrible night. But Dean and Sam being so absolutely mortified, like, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then they're like closing the door gently behind, but it's completely busted to hell. Oh my god, it's so funny. I love
it. Yeah.
And Dean does this little laugh, this little embarrassed laugh.
Yeah, it's
like,
cute.
Sorry. I love him.
Yeah. So we see that Jack's gone back to his own house and he calls up the stairs. He's like, "Michelle, I'm home." And I wrote, "Great, I'm sure Michelle is thrilled, mate, that you're home." There's no response, but he then looks in the living room and sees Michelle tied to a chair and gagged, and then Travis grabs him from behind and puts a cloth over his nose and mouth. And this is where I fell for the red herring. I was like, oh, is Travis the bad guy? But I mean, he's maybe partly. They're both kind of bad guys.
Yeah, neither of them are really great. The moral of the story that I take away from these episodes that are written by female writers is that men suck. Except for Sam and Dean.
Yeah. Well,
Dean
even they have their moments.
Yeah. But I feel like that's the writing, and I'm going to stand by that. I actually saw a reel on Instagram of a girl saying the same thing, and we're following each other now because we're now besties. Because she was like, "This is not Dean, this is the writers," and I'm like, "Same, sister. You were so right."
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I didn't with Travis. I was like, I thought maybe he'd made Sam and Dean go somewhere else so he could then do whatever he was going to do. I thought he was going to literally be the bad guy.
Here's my thing about Travis and why he's the villain is because if he was going to kill Michelle after he found out that she was pregnant, and if it was me, if I felt like in my heart I had to do this because her baby was going to be a monster and was definitely going to kill a lot of other people, and I felt like I had to because I'd already played out this scenario, I wasn't going to be okay. Number one, Sam and Dean are still alive. Feel like they're pretty reliable. You could have been like, listen, in 30 years' time, this kid is going to have the same choice to make as its father. You need to be there, you know? So there's that, which just solves this entire problem. I'm just the red flag. But ignoring that, let's say that he really believes he can't leave it to chance. If I was him, I would have just put a bullet in Michelle's brain. No suffering, no fear, no panic. Like, I would have been behind her. She wouldn't have seen the gun. She would have been dead. Okay? And then let's assume that somehow the Rougarou fetus can survive with its mom dead. And you have to burn the body. Fine, then burn the body after that. But to set fire to the house and just tie her there. She's an innocent person. The way that he's doing this is so unbelievably fucked up. That's what makes him a villain to me is fine. If you think you have to kill her to kill the kid, and there's no way, fine. But also, like, birth is a thing. Like, you could have waited around. She gives birth. You do what you need to do, as horrible as it is, because it's a baby. You know, there's just so many ways.
Are you trying to say you should wait and then kidnap the baby?
Yes, honestly, because this woman's done nothing wrong. She's done nothing. She's just existing.
Yeah, like, I blame Jack. It's Jack's fault.
It's Jack's fault. It's Travis's fault. It's toxic men in general. Like, who does that? Who's like, I'm just gonna have to casually murder this nice lady for very little reason. Stupid. I don't like it.
No.
Okay. So, basically what unfolds is Travis tells Jack that he can't just let them go because of what Michelle said to him when he first attacked her, which was, don't hurt me because I'm pregnant. And she's crying when she says it again. And this actress is so pretty. She's so sweet. Yeah. Like, you really, like, every horrible thing that happens to her, you feel it in your bones as a woman because she's so relatable and her acting is so on point. Like, she's a queen. Amazing.
She deserves better.
She does on every level. Okay.
Her and her little baby Rougarou.
her tiny baby Rougarou. Yeah.
So, Michelle has green eyes, by the way.
I'm taking a deep, calming breath.
Don't blame me. It's casting.
All right. Sure. It's fine. The green eye conspiracy is real. It's fine. I bet her baby has green eyes too, Laura.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because both her and Jack both had green eyes, so yeah, the baby would as well.
Oh my days, y'all! I can't. Okay. All right. So, Michelle is very confused, and Travis is explaining what's happening and how he can't just leave. And he asked Jack to tell Michelle the truth and that she deserves to know why this is happening to her. And Jack says, just let her go. She's not a part of this. And Michelle says, a part of what? And then she asks Jack again, but he ignores her. And Travis says, I really do apologize, but she is a part of it. This is the part when she reveals that she's pregnant. And then Jack says, just hold on a minute, because he sees Travis starting to set up the flamethrowers and stuff. And Travis says, now you see the mess we're in? I can't make this mistake all over again. I won't be around in 30 years. This has got to end now. I know you don't believe me, but I'd give anything not to have to do this. And Jack is like, no, no, no. And he's completely freaking out. And Michelle's screaming, oh God, please don't, because she realizes she's about to be burned alive.
That would not be a very good thing to realize.
Nope. And Jack says, if you want to kill me, but not my wife, okay? I'm begging you. And Travis says, ain't got no choice. My condolences. And then he empties the gas can. And Jack is panicking, and we see him flash back to his life with Michelle and how much he loves her. So he manages to break free, snaps the chains on him, jumps Travis, and starts hitting him over and over and over again. Travis gets in a couple of blows. Jack falls to the floor. Travis moves over and is sitting on him, hitting him, and it looks like he's going to win, but then Jack grabs the cast and snaps it. Ugh. And Michelle is like screaming. And then Jack starts eating his broken arm through. Like, I literally in my notes say that he ate this man like a lobster. Like, he broke him open and ate him like seafood.
This was really scary gross. And really gory.
The effects, so practical, so real. Like, honestly, this is one of the scarier scenes in Supernatural. Because it's just so horrible.
It's really realistic.
Super realistic, guys. Like, this has to be right up there with one of my scariest moments in Supernatural.
This is no pixelated demon dust.
No pixelation at all. He then also, the blood looks like real blood in the scene. It doesn't look like that lighter TV blood that they use sometimes.
Yeah.
I guess because they saved up all the gore for these specific moments so they could go harder.
Oh yeah, they said that somewhere, didn't they? To get around the sensors, the
sensors, you can make the blood look less real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jack rips Travis's throat open, which is super gross, and then starts eating him like a steak. Michelle is watching all of this in complete shock. Travis dies before our eyes. Jack changes into the Rougarou, and Michelle is still silently like terrified. He whips around to look at her, totally covered in blood, stands up and walks over to her. She's terrified. He squats down, breaks the restraints on her, and she screams, stay away from me, and she runs away, and he's crying, Michelle! Honestly, shut the fuck up, Jack.
Yeah, Michelle's done the right thing here.
She is. She gets in the car and she gets the fuck out of Dodge, which good for her. All right, good for her.
Although, I've just realised, so that means that she's going to have a baby Rougarou, and there's a Rougarou out there now.
Yep, there will be a Rougarou. Because also, he lies to Sam and Dean. He's all like, I don't know why Travis did what he did. He's a monster.
Yes, they don't know she's pregnant either.
Yeah. So that's a nice little horror element, too, at the end. It's like the moment at the end of the movie when you realize actually the bad guy could come back.
Yeah.
So be interesting, because obviously her kid. But Michelle knows, like, she knows that Jack is a monster. So I feel like she's gonna know. And I think she might raise that kid vegan. Who knows? Like, maybe that baby's gonna be okay. We never find out. So
nature versus nurture.
Yeah, here we go. Who knows? So Jack is basically frozen in the same spot where Michelle left him. And then the monster really comes out again, and he basically starts consuming what is left of Travis's body, which is gross. Then the boys pull up out front of the house. They see Travis's car, and Dean says, I guess we know where Travis is. And Sam says, that stupid son of a bitch. So Dean looks at Sam like, who are you right now? Like, that's my line. and then they walk into the house. So the door opens slowly, and we see this absolute horror movie situation, because you can see the gas canisters, you can see where people were tied up, and then just the remains, like the small fleshy pieces of what is left of Travis, which is pretty gross, pretty horrific, not gonna lie. And Dean says, oh God, do you think that's Travis? And Sam is like, what's left of him? So Sam says, I guess you were right about Jack. And it's so sad because Sammy, his face.
Sam wants to save the monsters.
Sam shows like everything, like absolute despair. Like, because he always thinks if he can save the quote unquote bad guy, then he can be saved too. And whenever he fails, he feels like he's let down all of the innocent people. Whoever's been hurt, you can tell he's going to blame himself for Travis's death, even though it's not his fault. He just takes it all so personally because he's a good person, you know? So it's very sad. Very sad.
Yeah.
Before we have a chance to even breathe or think about any of this, Jack jumps Dean from behind. They slam into the coffee table. He knocks Dean out. Sam moves around, pulls out the flamethrower, and is ready to light it. But Jack is too fast, and he smashes Sam into the floor and knocks him unconscious too. Sam wakes up on the floor of a closet after being knocked out. This is so many concussions. This is 14, 15? After a second, he remembers what's going on, and he starts trying to get out, and he starts calling out for Dean. So Jack from outside says Dean can't come to the phone right now. I'm sure that's a line from a horror movie.
Creepy. Yeah, I thought that as well. And it was also really creepy how he said it.
Yeah.
Like, Dean can't come to the phone right now.
It's so scary and gross. So Jack tells Sam that Dean is alive. And he starts working out how he can get out. So he finds a coat hanger and he starts picking the lock of the closet door. And Sam's trying to negotiate, saying that they can figure it out. And Jack just needs to let him out. And Jack is really sarcastic, and he says, oh yeah, we'll have ourselves a little brainstorming session. And you can tell that he's getting more desperate. And Sam saying, Jack, please. And Jack says, I don't think so. Jack says, after what you did. And Sam's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Jack then talks about Travis and says that he was going to burn his wife. And Sam is so confused. And then says, why would he do that? And Jack lies.
Yeah, Jack,
he didn't
why would
say.
he do that?
Mm-hmm. And then he says, I guess psychopaths don't have to explain themselves. And I'm like, have you looked in a mirror lately?
No, he has no mirrors. No mirrors around anywhere.
No mirrors anywhere. No questions were asked. So Jack starts looking like he's about to eat Dean. Okay, and Dean is a tasty snack. He's a very handsome man. But that's my snack, so get yourself away, okay? Jack says, oh God, I'm so hungry. Fuck off, Jack. So Sam is about to get the lock open. Jack turns towards the closet door and says, I can't ever see my family again. You two, you're a friend, you made me into this. Again, no accountability. It's not his fault. He didn't fully eat a person.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam
That's
says no one's making you kill us, which I thought was an excellent point, frankly. And he's still trying to talk him down. And Sam's saying, you've got this dark pit inside of you. I know. Believe me, I know. But that doesn't mean you have to fall into it. You don't have to be a monster. And Jack laughs and says, have you seen me lately? This is such cool dialogue, though. And Sam says it doesn't matter what you are. It only matters what you do. It's your choice. It's like, yeah, take accountability, Jack, you douche. So Jack's sitting still on the floor like he's taking it in, and then he starts experiencing hunger pangs again. And he's clearly about to take a bite out of Dean. Sam bursts out and shouts his name. And he has the flamethrower ready. And Jack...
This is so hot.
Yeah, Jack is sitting still for a moment thinking. And then he lunges at Sam as Dean's slowly coming back to consciousness, and we see Sam flip the lighter and the flamethrower goes off. Dean turns his head to shield himself, and then he turns back and watches while Sam burns Jack alive. Jack finally falls to the floor in flames. Dean looks over at Sam, who's sad and kind of defeated, but he was pretty sexy when he was doing it.
Definitely. And also, see, Dean, he could do it. He could do it if he needed to.
Yep. So later on in the evening, we see the Impala. It's driving fast down the road. Dean and Sam are sitting in the car in silence. And Dean's telling Sam that he did the right thing and that that guy was a monster and there was no going back. Sam hangs his head, basically. And Dean says, Sam, I want to tell you I'm sorry. I've been kind of hard on you lately. Sam looks out the window at his own reflection and doesn't really look at Dean, but just says, don't worry about it. Dean says, it's just that your psychic thing, it scares the crap out of me. And Sam says, look, if it's all the same, I'd really rather not talk about it. Dean says, wait a minute, what? You don't want to talk? You? And Sam just ignores him, basically. Like, he doesn't really react to what he's saying emotionally. He just says, there's nothing more to say. I can't keep explaining myself to you. I can't make you understand. Dean says, why don't you try? And Sam says, I can't, because this thing, this blood, it's not in you the way it's in me. It's just something I gotta deal with. And Dean says, not alone. And Sam just kind of sighs and looks out the window and says, anyway, it doesn't matter. These powers, it's playing with fire. I'm done with them. I'm done with everything. And Dean says, really? And then he's like, oh, that's a relief. Thank you. Sam kind of scoffs and says, don't thank me. I'm not doing it for you or for the angels or for anyone. This is my choice. And then it's the end of the episode.
What do we think? I don't think he is going to stop using his powers myself.
I don't think that either. And I also think he's not going to stop seeing Ruby.
No.
I think he means it when he says it, but he doesn't have follow through.
No. Yeah, also, like, when Dean's like, you can talk to me about it. It's like, but can you, though? Because you just keep calling him a freak.
Yeah, it seems not exactly a safe space for that conversation.
No. Which means he's going to go to Ruby, and then he's going to use his powers again. There we go.
Yeah.
Prediction.
Dean and John have literally set him up to be so vulnerable because they were incapable of giving him the support or understanding that he needs. And so Sam is going to go where a lot of black sheep people go, which is like to the next person who shows them compassion.
And Ruby understands him, or at least makes him feel like she understands him.
Yeah.
Because she's demon as well. He's got demon blood. She's a demon.
I actually think that's part of it. Like, I actually think that he thinks, a little bit like I said earlier on in this episode, that if Ruby could be good, then he could also be good. Like, if Ruby can use her demon stuff to help him with his demon stuff, and he's exorcising demons and saving people, and she's taking them to the ER, in his mind, they're doing good together. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's so seductive for him to be with her. Because exactly what you just pointed out.
Also, they're hot together. I called it on first Ruby, and this Ruby's, they're good. I like Ruby and Sam.
Yeah, me too. Do you want to play games?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what happened to my voice then. For villain hot or not, I put, you know, he's disgusting before he was a monster, and even worse when he turned into a monster.
Yeah, honestly, initially, before he spoke or said words, and he was kind of half naked, I was like, he's all right. And then Jack happened, and I was like, gross, no, absolutely not hot.
Yeah, I didn't even like him as a human, though. Like, the whole, like you were saying, the nice guy thing, nice guy syndrome.
Blech.
Like, an actual nice guy, like an actual good guy, would not act the way he did.
Exactly.
So, no, don't like him. Scare rating?
Oh. The thing is like, when I think about it generally, I don't usually think of it as like a super scary episode, but there are moments in it that are super fucking scary. So I'm going to give it a 6.5.
I gave it an 8.5 originally.
That's fair.
Because it is actually really scary, and it's gory. It's got loads of bone snapping, which I don't like. It's got cannibalism.
Yeah.
It's got really realistic cannibalism. I thought it was really scary.
Yeah, maybe my rating should be higher. I'm going to up mine to a 7.5. Because also there's all the, like, rapiness and grossness and violence against women, too. That's also horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like it. And they're, like, scary. Threatening to set someone on fire.
Yeah.
Actually setting someone on fire at the end.
Yep. Crispy critter.
What was your favourite quotes?
It's the part where Dean's like, we're here to save you, I guess.
I guess.
And sorry. They're like, sorry, and then laughing.
Yeah, that was a good bit.
Yeah.
Mine were both Dean funny bits as well. I've got when Dean finds out about Long Pig and he's like, that's my word of the day.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
And I liked the hungry hippos bit as well. Your appetite's reaching hungry hippo levels.
Yeah, that was pretty funny too.
What was your favourite thirst trap?
I think actually it's also, this is funny because it's like comedy value, but I think it's when they break down that girl's door because they're going to save her. Like they're trying to save her and they do it in unison. I don't know if I've ever seen them break in a door together before, but thank you. To whoever's decision that was amazing. That door never stood a chance.
No, and it looked worse for wear.
Yeah.
My runner-up one is Sam being assertive towards Travis when he says they're not going to kill Jack unless he does something to get killed for.
That was hot.
But my favourite bit is the Sam with the flamethrower at the end. Sam escaping the closet armed with the flamethrower.
That was also pretty excellent. It reminds me of with the Changelings where they have to barbecue that real estate lady.
Yeah, like the flamethrowers. MVP, I had Sam ? Because he kills the Rougarou in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it can't be Dean because I love Dean, but he's knocked out. So it is Sam.
And it's not Travis because he turns into a bad guy, sort of.
Yeah, Travis is
and dies.
So yeah, I have to give it to an honorable mention to Michelle for escaping with her life.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then it has to be Sam.
Yeah. Yes, Sam. Yep. And then I don't think there was a motel, was there?
No.
Maybe at the beginning?
I don't remember one. If there is one, I give it 0 stars because I have no recollection of it. I'm pretty sure they're literally just in the car or interviewing people in this episode.
Yeah, I don't remember a motel, so I haven't got one. So yeah.
Yeah.
The episodes coming up, I have looked at some of the titles and I feel like I recognise some of the titles, so I think they're popular ones.
Monster movie? I'm so psyched.
Yeah, I've seen. Is that the clip? Is that the one where there's a clip of Dean screaming, like that really over the top screaming?
No, that's Yellow Fever.
Oh, okay.
But that's also this season, I think.
That's coming up as well, I think. Yeah.
Couple of episodes. Yeah. Because you have Yellow Fever, you have Monster Movie, just like some of the most iconic episodes. Full stop.
Is Monster Movie gonna have some like references to old monster movies?
Fuck yeah, it is. That's why I'm so excited.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
They pick on so many of my favorite things.
Cool. Does that mean there's going to be Dracula in it?
Yes. We have it's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Well, it's the Great Pumpkin Sam Winchester. Wishful Thinking is so good. I Know What You Did Last Summer is fun. Honestly, like just there's so many great episodes in this season.
Cool. It sounds like we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Cool. Also, you know how at the end of our wrap up for season 3, I had a theory that all the episode 4s are shit.
Yeah.
This one isn't shit, so that's already obsolete now.
Yeah. It was a good
but the first 3 definitely are.
Yeah, for sure. So in conclusion, we've learned that most men are mediocre/terrible. I feel like that's the moral of the story, really.
Don't trust anyone. Don't trust any men.
Just the Sams and the Deans.
Yeah, and even them sometimes, maybe not.
Just like smack them with a newspaper occasionally, it'll be fine.
I feel like the only man on this show so far that I would 100% trust is Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby. It's like that whole meme where it's like you're in a room alone with 3 men, but you feel completely safe. Who are the men? Bobby is on the list.
Yeah, Bobby would have to be on the list.
Castiel.
He's like, yeah, but he's scary at the moment still.
He's scary, but I feel like I would be safe with him. So I'm going to say Castiel because I wouldn't be like, I'm going to look at your true form and have my eyeballs burned out. Is there anybody else?
I think I would feel safe with Sam and Dean.
Yeah, but, I was going to say, yeah. I think Sam.
I would feel safe with them, but also, yeah, I don't know. I would
feel
trust them
other
completely.
feelings about Dean. Round chicken, wow, wow. That's not the same as safe. It's just not the same. Oh, also our like listeners that are on Instagram. To be fair, I don't know if I can call all of them listeners, but like the people who enjoy our Instagram content.
Yeah.
I put up a kind of another choose your own adventure, except it's an oracle. It's like what would happen to you if you were in Supernatural, so you screenshot to see what would happen. And I was so upset because I really wanted to get the sexy Dean one. And I've tried it 5 times, and each and every time I either get Sam flirting with me or I get Dean accidentally summoned me with his like taco dripping into the magics. But it's not the same thing. That's not a sexy one. It's not a sexy Dean one. There's so many good, like, sexy Dean ones. But the comments were taking me out. Like, people were like, I feel like death is imminent, but I'm alright with it. Somebody else was like, this just sounds like a road to, like, most of these are just a road to, like, death by ecstasy. And I was like, you're welcome. They're just so good. They're so funny. I threw down so many trophy emojis. Because, like, the people on that page are witty as fuck, man. I was laughing so hard I was almost crying. Like, I love our comments section. Like, our comment section is fire.
Yeah, people are funny. Yeah. I did that earlier, and I got the one where I have to look after Sam during Bad Day at Black Rock.
That's amazing.
So I'm on shoe finding duty.
You are on shoe finding duty. You're trying to keep him alive, and also to stop the motel from burning around him. Like, I have to say, like, a lot of my Sam curiosity was piqued. The face that he makes when he's doing nothing, and then the air conditioning catches fire, and he's like, "Oh, come on," was so weirdly attractive to me. I was just like, oh.
Yeah. He's got the comedy. He can do the comedy as well as the horror.
Yep.
Definitely, for sure.
Yep. No, I feel like he would be good. I feel like you would be able to save him. I think it might just be awkward because he is in fact a human moose. He's so big and so tall, and he'd be trying to fall, and you'd be having to try to like stop him from breaking his neck.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. I would pay to watch that episode.
So, yeah, don't forget to let us know in the comments what your favourite kind of demon dust was.
Oh, yeah. Pixelated demon dust, Phantom Traveler, like OG, like janky computer video game kind of.
That's my favourite kind.
Right. Or my favorite demon dust is the stormy demon dust that we get in the Magnificent Seven. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. What's your favourite kind of demon dust? Let us know.
I really want someone to reply and tell me what you think of the Green Eye conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Please tell me.
Am I being crazy, or does this show have too many people with green eyes? If you have green eyes, let us know. Yeah. But yeah, we love hearing from you all.
Also, as I was talking about previously with some of my fun like Choose Your Own Adventure Supernatural posts, A, if you've missed those, go and play along because they're amazing and the comments are giving me life. But B, one of the options is you run into Sam and he asks you what your local lore is, and you guys have been telling us what your local lore is, those of you who got that one. And just, Laura and I were talking about this, and full stop, we would love to hear, like, what are the urban legends where you're from? What are the things that used to keep you up at night as a kid? What is the lore where you are? What would Sam come up with if he was to research your hometown? We would love to even do a bonus episode if you guys are happy to write in about it, or if they're longer. They can be anonymous, they can be name dropped, whatever you like. We will be so nice to you guys. We will treat these with kid gloves, okay? Because that stuff is so cool. And we just really hope that you would trust us with your local legends. Because it's something we're dying to do. And we will tell you our local legends too. Like, we will go into detail. I am from Florida originally, and I have some scary, messed up like local lore about where I'm from and just crazy things that I've seen. So I would be delighted to throw that together into a bonus episode. Laura also has like stuff that is historic and dates back to the medieval period.
I already kind of did one, didn't I? In I can't remember what episode it was. Was it Houses of the Holy? No, it was the demon selling the soul, the Crossroad Demon one, the first Crossroad Demons.
Crossroads episode.
Yeah, Black Shuck is from where I am. And I already kind of did my lore drop in that episode, but I can come up with, there's so many haunted.
I was gonna say I've looked around that area and there's a lot of activity up there, so there's definitely more.
There's lots of lore. There's lots of like fae stuff going on, like Will o' the Wisps and things. There's loads of stuff around here, so I can come up with something else.
I think it would be so much fun. So please, write in the comments. You can DM us on Instagram, or you can use the email address. Any of those would be great. And just tell us as much or as little as you want to. Don't be afraid that it's too short, because we can always pad things out with our own stories, or we can go on Reddit and just kind of round out the episode. So whether it's short or whether it's long, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, you could even literally just tell us what the lore is and we'll look it up. So that'd be really fun. I think that'd be a really good bonus episode that I really want to do.
I would love that so much.
So thanks for listening. Let us know in the comments lots of all the things we've asked for. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. We would be very grateful. And if you know someone who would enjoy it, please share.
You can find us on Instagram at the Witches of Letters podcast, or you can email us at thewitchesofletters@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay safe out there, have each other's backs, and always keep fighting.